All right, we're going to start our genetics unit and do a very, very quick review of that today, and we'll get into that as we go on to later on this week. I would say that this Scholastic Study Jams is probably one of the best videos that you can watch. It goes through a lot of the vocabulary words and the definitions. I know in class today and on Zoom, we had a good time looking at those, and it really did seem to make sense because as they explained it, then we would stop and have conversations about it, and it really did help out with everybody. So let's dig into our genetics here for just a few moments. The main reason why we need to do this, and you always have your I can statements as you start a new unit. Hopefully by the end of all this, you can identify inherited traits, acquired traits, and learned behaviors. And you can be able to tell me whether, when I give you a very specific thing, if it came from the parent or if it came from the environment. And that's an extremely important thing for us to know. So when we're looking at genetics and you're thinking about ways that you might describe yourself, someone might say, I've got brown hair, blue eyes, and I'm very funny. Well, two of those three things can be directly related to your parents. Your hair color and your eye color are things that are inherited from your parents. That is genetics. If you are funny and you like to wear very bright clothes or something, those are going to be things that acquire. That's from your environment. Your environment. So we'll go through all the things that we need to do for today. So again, when you look at this breakdown of the families, you're going to realize that there are very specific traits that are passed down from parents to their children. And you can see here that traits are things like eye color, hair, or if you're an animal, fur color, height, and skin color. That's very important in the study of genetics. Now, what is genetics? It's the study of how traits, which is what we just defined down here, are passed on by the parents and how traits are learned and how things are acquired. And we'll go into those things as we continue to move on. So feel free to pause the video so you can jot down these definitions. This is an extremely video-heavy unit. It will be very important for you to follow along during the Zooms and in Nearpod using those slides and going back and reviewing the videos because they're going to help you understand the things that we talk about in class, because a lot of these things you really do need to see in order to understand them better. So make sure you watch the very, very quick video of what DNA and genes are. Genes, it's another thing that we need to go over. Genes are characteristics in the cell. So inside the cells are these tiny little instructions that tell what type of traits a kid will get. Tiny little instructions that tell the body what color eyes you have. Tiny little instructions to tell you what color your hair is going to be. Tiny little instructions to tell you what color your skin is going to be. And that's all inside of the cell. They are the basic units of heredity. They are basically like getting a giant Lego set. And when you open up the Lego set, what's the basic unit? All of the Legos. And then you have instructions on how to put those Legos together, and they form very specific things. We have DNA and chromosomes in there. Genes carry the information that tell you what characteristics you get from your parents. Your hair color, how tall you are, the color of your eyes. All of that information is stored in your genes. Now, I do want to say this. I've had some children in the past get confused with this. Genes, genes that have all of your information about what you look like, is different from Jeans, the pants that you wear. I don't want you to be that kid, and I've had it happen, who answered when I said on the test, what are jeans? And they said, the pants my mom bought for me at the mall. Very different. Similar sounding word, spelled different, extremely different meaning. So we need to make sure that we have the word genes written down in our notebook. This really did flow very, very quickly, and I feel like a lot better in class as we were watching the videos and then stopping to talk, because in the video we watched today, one of the girls was talking about how she has brown eyes and how her sister has green eyes. And then we were able to stop and talk about this concept right here. Dominant versus recessive genes. Dominant versus recessive genes. So when you are a child, you get one gene from your mom and one gene from your dad, and then you get two genes to put together. And that's going to tell you some things like what color eyes you might have. And the thing you need to understand about this is, with these two genes, as I move down to here, dominant genes are very strong. They are in control. They overpower recessive genes. So, for example, brown eyes are a dominant gene. If you receive one gene that's a brown eye gene, you are going to have brown eyes. The only way you can get a different color, let's say green eyes, is if you get two recessive gene traits. Now, this next part is not something that you have to know, but it does help this to make a little bit of sense. So we are going to look at something called a Punnett square. If we have the mom, and we have a dad, and they are going to have children, and we're looking at their eye color gene. Let's just say the dad has brown eyes, and the mom has green eyes. I know for 100% fact that the mom's, if you were to draw the genes out in letters, looks like this. Little g, so that's little green, and you could only have green eyes if they are both showing. Now the dad, so this is mom, here's dad. The dad looks like this. He has a big B because when you're a dominant gene, you're bigger, so it's capital B instead of lowercase. But he also has this little g. And the reason why you don't see that green is the dominant gene expresses itself more so than the others. Then we can actually take a look and get a mathematical expression of the probability of what color eyes their children would have. And this is going to look like I'm doing some lattice multiplication, but I'm not. It's pretty similar. So if we put the mom up here, little g, we put the dad here, big G, and little g, and you pretty much do this very similar to lattice multiplication. So if you, again, air quotes over this, multiply big B times little g, if you put these two together is what I'm saying, you're going to get a big B and a little g. Now you're going to put these two together, and you're going to get a big G and a little g. Now you take this one and put it here, and you're going to get little g and little g. And if you put this one over here, you're going to get little g and little g. Now, you have a 50-50 shot. This person and this person, I should probably do that in brown, right? This person and this person have brown eyes. These two people have green eyes because they've got two little genes. So their kids have a 50-50 shot of having brown eyes or green eyes. And that takes me back to, well, you can see we did that a bunch in class today, dominant gene versus recessive gene. And that is pretty much where we stopped in class. We will pick up tomorrow with inherited traits, and we will move on from there.